Hi, my name is Javed Khan and I'm assistant professor at the Systemic Change Group of our department. I'm sorry I could not be there with you to share this presentation live on stage, but I'm glad that I could at least share it in this way. So the rise of the internet has brought into existence a new type of systems known as crowdsourcing platforms. You might have heard Uber sourcing rides from the crowd or Airbnb sourcing rooms from the crowd, but there is a plethora of other crowdsourcing platforms sourcing all sorts of tasks, which a lot of them are actually, I find, quite relevant and impactful for design. So for example, as a designer, you need to empathize with users, and typically one method to do that would be to make a questionnaire. Once you have that questionnaire, you typically go to social media or ask your friends or colleagues to fill it out. With some crowdsourcing platforms such as, for example, Amazon's Mechanical Turk, Google Surveys or Prolific, you can do that now on a global scale, very affordable, and in a very short period of time get literally hundreds or thousands of responses. So you can do it on a scale that was impossible or unaffordable until very recently. Another task that you might want to do as a designer is to get feedback for your early ideas, sketches, or designs. Well, you can do that again affordably on a very large scale on Usability Hub. Or for example, you might want to brainstorm with people that you do not have the same perspective or context with you in order to get fresh and novel ideas. Again, you can do that with Tricider. And this is a growing trend that it seems to last for at least for the near and mid-term future. So for example, a World Bank report stated that in 2016 there were more than 100 million people that supported themselves financially by doing work in such platforms, generating revenue of approximately 4.8 billion US dollars. In the same report, they project that by 2020, crowdsourcing will generate revenues of at least 15 billion US dollars. A qualitative aspect that I found in a European Parliament report stated that in the future, the highest participation in such sites will come from people who are currently inactive and work part-time. So that might be indeed an interesting alternative, an important alternative for people who might have trouble finding work. And locally, a TNO report, a 2016 TNO report, stated that it was at least approximately 18% of the active working population that worked in such platforms to sustain their income. Thus, it is a growing trend, and I believe that it's very relevant and will be impactful for design and design work. Therefore, my vision for design, which I try to capture in the following sentence: design for crowdsourcing and crowdsourcing for design. And to explain it, I'm going to start from the latter, so crowdsourcing for design. And essentially by that I mean, how can crowdsourcing support designers and design-related activities? So one way that we did that with a PhD student of mine, we published that paper in last year's CHI conference, was to generate content. So as a designer, you might want content. In this case, we asked the crowd to generate ideas for smart home services and products. Now, in this part of my vision, I envision the designer to get the knowledge from the university and use this plethora, all of these crowdsourcing platforms out there in order to address societal and business challenges. Now, research questions that I find interesting in order to address in my research is, which platform should I use? I have currently listed more than 200 platforms in my own personal website. Or how to find experts in the crowd. Again, imagine a plethora of more than millions of people and you need some specific expertise. Or how do I manage large volumes of data that could be created through such crowdsourcing platforms? Now, I believe that this might lead to revolutionizing the innovation capacity of SMEs. So you as a designer working for a small or medium enterprise could use this plethora of services and essentially provide an innovation powerhouse for small and medium enterprises. I also believe by doing such work we're gonna come up with ideas for new platforms, novel platforms for innovation. Now the first part of my vision was designed for crowdsourcing, and by that I mean how can we as designers improve existing crowdsourcing platforms. Now work that I've done with a master student of mine, Simon Ancampo, was to look at literature on online communities. We looked at what makes online communities successful. We shortlisted things that we found there and we adapted them for crowdsourcing, and we developed this method to essentially evaluate existing crowdsourcing platforms and find their weaknesses and things that they do very well. You can find more about this method and the list of heuristics, these guidelines to essentially design for crowdsourcing on our website crowdevaluation.nl. In a bachelor project that we did last year in collaboration with the medical imaging group at the Faculty of Biomedical Engineering, we developed a novel crowdsourcing platform, essentially a mobile web app that you can find in the following URL, to annotate medical images. In this case, these were images from skin lesions. Now, I envision that designers in this part of my vision to get knowledge from our university and apply it in existing platforms to essentially improve them. Now, research questions that are interesting to address would be how to motivate the crowd, or how to improve collaboration in such platforms, and what is actually the crowd workers' context, what issues do they deal with, and how to ultimately improve their working conditions. And I believe with that we can improve the future of work. Now, a key research question that I keep at the back of my mind is what does actually crowdsourcing mean for the role of future designers such as you, and how do we educate them, such as us? I do this work in the squad Design for Creatives with a plethora of partners, other universities, either here in the Netherlands or abroad, other research groups here at our own university, companies and local government. Now, as a concluding statement, I would like to say that crowdsourcing is a new way of working that is already impacting several aspects of life. And I believe that now is the time to embrace it and shape its development to positively impact design. I would welcome you to visit my website in order to see papers, projects, and research prototypes that we have developed in the last 3 years with my students. And also please feel free to reach out in order to see how can we collaborate. Thank you.